and a hello to everyone that has decided to tune in to the Noob Savage, aka Mr. Malone, aka the Fart Jar, as he lays down his stories that are underneath the lid in the jar, and all those villains, protagonists and antagonists that have dared to open that lid to experience the green smoke that's within. Today's story explores 4 to 5 strange characters in a very weird lobby. We made a couple goobers that are like what I would like to call innocent griefers, and then we run into a tank griefer, and last but not least a doofus, and what I believe is a B-11 or some giant plane that tried to drop a nugget on me. And the Noob Savage ends up making him say, "Matei!" Let's go ahead and dig in and take a look, shall we? It all started on a beautiful, bright afternoon in Los Santos, when I was just cruising around in my Paragon, and I came across the fella who was fighting with the cops. I went ahead and picked them up, and we headed towards another character. Now, at first, I thought maybe he was going to be friendly, and then he decided to pull out his pistol. He let off a round or two, so I decided to flip a U and go on back and toss the sticky. A little later on in the evening, we meet a couple other goobers. Yellow goobers, to be exact. They were double-teaming this Rocky player. I went over in my RC to take a look, and once Rocky left, I decided to mess with them. Santiago's is the associate. That's the goober I'm trying to mess with. Does Yellow CEO is on the suppressor, broomstick to be more exact. He ends up destroying my Paragon. But like always, the Fart Jar respawns right outside the store. So I go ahead and go into the store and wait for the Yellow suppressor to come on over. And by George, what do you know? He comes on over to pay me a visit. That was absolutely stupendous. I love when they fall for my store baiting. Incidentally, I jump into my RC Bandido, and he ends up responding and jumping on his broomstick oppressor. He goes back up on the roof across the street from the store. He wasn't very patient because he ends up leaving out shouting, "Matei!" I can't blame him though, 'cause I am assuming the smell from my jar lid being fully open was absolutely unbearable. Now, the main reason why I included Oscar and his little associate Santiago into the story today is because as soon as I got done with them, I ended up running into a couple people. One in one of those night sharks or whatever, and a dude in a fast car, and I see the little blue dot on the map. So I run up the little ramp over here in the parking garage and check out what's going on. And a tank shows up. Alexei is the tank goober. He now potatoed both the night shark and the fast car. A quick side note, the big booger character that was potatoed by Alexei will be featured later on in the video. And now he is trying to potato me with his silly tank, and he's not bright enough to realize that he can't get me from there. So now, it's time for me to jump in my Deluxo off the radar. Incidentally, at the same time as I grab my Deluxo, Mr. Booger grabs his tank. He ends up getting the kill on Alex EE. And then I have a disastrous attempt with my Deluxo on Alex E. And we're not going to talk too much about that. When I respawn, I end up running into couple players in a night shark.
How can I help?
I end up jumping in the vehicle with them and cruise a little bit down the road. And look who pulls up in a cop car. Good old Alexei, ha ha ha. This is my chance to get my kill back. After cruising with the Night Shark fellas for a minute or two, I jumped back into my Deluxio and hop on over to the store. I figured I'd try the on top of store trick with Alex C, because I put a bounty on him. I figured he'd come over. Instead, he decided to stay on the ground and fight with someone else. So I took advantage of the situation, and I sniped in a handful of times. Incidentally, a new goober decides to show himself. Let's call him Ectoplasm Solidado. He's going after Alexei. I end up hanging out in the store for a minute. I message Ectoplasm and ask him to jump into my car. And look what he decides to do next. I was trying to track down Ectoplasm, and guess who decides to show back up? Good old Alexei, and again in a tank. So I go ahead and jump back out of my RC Paragon. And I decided to do something that I have seen the great Putter do. I go ahead and jump into an NPC vehicle loaded with 5 stickies on the exterior. And I go ahead and cruise on over to the tank. And I make mashed potatoes, ha ha ha! Now, take a big gusting whiff of that fart jar. Ah, how refreshing, don't you think, Alexei? I know it's put a bounty on Ectoplasm, and I'm going to go ahead and get to my bounty. I go off the radar and cruise up close to him and snipe his little potato into mashed potatoes. This is when we meet the final character of today's story, Mr. Big Booger. And if you remember from earlier, I pointed out Mr. Big Booger when he got killed by Alex E in the tank. I did not get him trying to drop nuggets on me and Ectoplasm recorded, but that's what he ended up doing. He potatoed Ectoplasm. I jumped in my Deluxo and went after him. The problem was that he upgraded his B11 with Missile Lockjammer. I was able to free aim a couple missiles to him, but that plane is much too strong. I ended up landing on a top of a building, and let's see what happens next, shall we? That was just absolutely exhilarating. Mr. Booger is now simply snot ha ha ha. You know how I do an RC smashing. I get that quick kill, that quick potato, mashed potatoes, ha 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 ha. At this point, I would have to assume that Mr. Big Booger has had enough green smoke from the fart jar. But I need to add just another whiff. A slight hint of seepage from under the lid's contents. So I jump in my Paragon and I go ahead and truly make mashed potatoes. Ha 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 ha. The fart jar is going full throttle. This potato has to be one of the best kills of the video. By best I mean the funniest, ha ha ha!
He's gotta be pissed.